Today on the Measure Koolaid report, we're going to be dealing with Nahshon Wright and Jabril Cox and looking at those guys continue to stack good days, because to a degree, both of those guys almost have rookie-ish reps, right? Because obviously Jabril Cox, when he hurt his ACL, that stopped his rookie development, and he had to, like Dak, begin to focus on his rehab. But obviously everybody loved his raw traits. You can see the hands, the athleticism, the speed. He even put on some size. And Wright was obviously the talk of training camp last year, but mostly because he was getting the ball. So I'm gonna start with obviously Nahshon Wright, and the clips that's coming out. The only kind of bad one was when James Washington seemed to get a step on him. But the positive thing about it is you can see the makeup speed, because he had a step on him and then Nahshon Wright walks him back down, but that could have been a big play. Other than that, I like what I see in Nahshon Wright, but I think he's going to have to get his hands on the ball if he's going to win the crowd. I've always said at Boss Cowboy Sports, if you win the crowd, you win your freedom. And so what I'm talking about is you got to get the fans behind you. You got to make big plays like TJ Vasher did, and it start building your reputation with the fans, and it becomes hard to cut you. That's what I mean by win the fans. And because, like, if we look at, you know, obviously the TJ Vasher catch, you know, obviously that went viral, the one-handed catch on caught on Joseph's. You know, everybody been talking about that. This is another angle of it, and this footage is from John Machota and Michael Gilkin. But you know, it's been going viral because it's a big play. And what you don't hear, which is funny though, is you don't hear when you talking about Nahshon Wright, is they tried that same play on him to no success though. So you got to make the big play. You got to come down with the interception. You got to, you know, the breakup is good, but that's not gonna keep your name in headlights like your name was in the headlights last year. And I'm rooting for him, you know, because he's a big corner. He's somebody that's gonna be hard to throw on in the red zone, which is obvious. You got a 6'6" guy that's looking kind of regular when you got a 6'4" corner. I mean, Nahshon Wright is a real big dude. If you look at him side by side of the players, it's obvious you dealing with a guy with some real size. And so he getting close though, but he got to come down with some of these. Like when you look at him, boom, if he would have made that play, then, you know, the talk would have been different just instantly. And it's a great break. I mean, fantastic break. I mean, he breaks and plants and drives and almost come down with that interception. The only knock I would say on Dennis Houston is Dennis Houston got to attack the football, come back for the football. But we talking about Nahshon Wright. Nahshon Wright had an opportunity right there to get his name in lights. You got to get your hands on the ball. You do. And if he get his hands on the ball, then you go start seeing a crowd from the crowd. You go start seeing a crowd that we want to see more on Nahshon Wright. But I haven't given up on Nahshon Wright. I met his mom. I learned a lot about him. I learned a lot about his background. And I'm gonna tell you something about Nahshon Wright. Nahshon Wright has some Everson Walls background in him, and I didn't know that. Like, when I met Everson Walls, I asked him, I said, how we go get our DBs to get the ball like you used to? He said, man, I used to play receiver. And Nahshon Wright the same way. Like, he played receiver and was converted to corner. So just like Diggs, like, they targeted guys who got a knack for coming down with the ball. So it's just a matter of him making the catch, and that's just what it is. So then now we pivot to Jabril Cox, and we go talk about what he needs to do with these pads coming on today. So when you look at Jabril Cox, obviously everybody is excited about the return of Jabril Cox. He made the 9-month window. And that 9-month window is the optimistic time for ACL, because they say the heal period is between 9 to 12 months, where he was right around 9 months and some change. And to see him actually out there with no knee brace and moving as if he never had an ACL is very encouraging. So obviously this play been going around because it's one thing that you can clearly see is you can see the game speed. Like a coach taught me how to spot game speed. You gotta track a player compared to the players that's around him. So look at the other players' pursuit to the ball that's around him and look at him. And that's how you can tell it's another level of game speed. I don't care about your 40 time as much as I care about your game speed. And you can see the close, but what you more so see is relative to others is how he's moving compared to the other players. And you can see it's another level of speed. This type of play, though, Jabril Cox is going to always do well. These scrape plays, these plays to where you running the guy down, he's going to always look fantastic. He's going to look like a Greek god. You going to go ahead and throw up the yoga flames.
Yoga fire!
You go throw up the yoga flames when you see him on that. What I want to see with him, because I consider him almost like a rookie, is I want to see when these pads come on, what is he going to do between the A and B gap. That's what I want. I know he gonna make those type plays. Pursuit plays, he gonna be on it like white on rice, no doubt. But it's more so about Jabril Cox. It's about being a consistent tackler, because obviously it's a lot of fame and fortune going on with Jabril Cox, and a lot of people are rightfully excited about Jabril Cox. But we also have to be honest on his career development. He wasn't a good tackler at LSU. But going into his rookie year and his preseason games, he was greatly improved on his tackling. He was making a lot of quality tackles up to the last preseason game. That's the only time I would say he was okay. But the first preseason games, Jabril was doing exactly what you're supposed to do, and that's stack continuous good games. And that was in between the A and B gaps. You could see the instincts when he first arrived. You could see the size when he first arrived. And there's a lot of room for him to be flexible in the Dan Quinn's offense, because everybody also knows that he's athletic and he can cover. So it's room for him on the strong side linebacker, where he could even stay in the game as a big nickel, where he can get him some coverage in there, similar to a quality corner or a quality safety, because at LSU he got more of his snaps actually as the big nickel than anything. So he's somebody that can play Curse's role on occasion, especially on particular matchups, but that hasn't been showcased yet. But that's in him. I mean, it's exponentially in him to where you can put him as just like Curse, and he potentially could even better a tight end eraser. Like Curse is obviously doing that job. Nobody complaining about it, and we all cool with it. But it's no doubt that boy Jabril can do the same thing. When I say no doubt, it's no doubt. So obviously with the pads coming on today, it's a mystery of who go come out, and is he gonna continue to stack his good days? Because if he come up showing some tough, ferocious tackles in between that A and B gap, man, we go all have us some fun. But obviously, man, you know, looking at these two players with the pass coming on, stacking good days is going to be real important. Obviously, for Nahshon Wright to continue to try to get his hands on the ball to where he can get his name back in lights, because that's what had his name in lights as a rookie. That's what was causing him to rise and get a better name than even the corners that was out there, like Joseph's. And then obviously we want to see the consistency in the tackling from Jabril. If they both answer that call, then we are still improving from that defensive class draft that we went heavy with Dan Quinn his first year. So obviously here at Boss Cowboy Sports, we're going to continue to give you this type of content where we're going to break this stuff down from a measured Kool-Aid perspective. We always dead serious about doing that. Make sure y'all continue to like, share, and subscribe. Y'all have been doing that, and we greatly appreciate that. Also, I would say the 2 videos that's out with the CeeDee Lamb ready to be the #1 and the Dak Prescott video, those are doing well. If you haven't checked those out, go check it out. It's worth it. You're gonna really enjoy it. They short videos, they get to the point. But this is Boss Cowboy Sports, where your voice matter, and we gonna continue to get this content. Y'all stay up. Peace.